Okay, so I've just submitted the turn and we're now 24 ticks into the game, and which is one cycle in, and we can see that there's a few more warp gates that makes a really nice warp gate network. So I didn't know about this warp gate last turn, and I also didn't know about that warp gate last turn. So having both of those means I can effectively get everywhere in my empire connected with warp gates, which will be really helpful for moving carriers around. We can see that on the front line, Dr. Gaming built a whole heap of industry. They probably did a mass buy of economy. They bought a whole lot of economy. They probably did a mass buy of economy, either through the mass buy function, enable upgrades function, either that or they just went along buying all of it without discrepancy. But that gives me an opportunity to recapture some of this economy and make it hard for Dr. Gaming to, well, I guess, keep it and make it not worth it. Because if we have a look, 2 economy there on 50 total resources, that's the equivalent of this. So it would have been 27 credits cost for 2 economy. So Dr. Gaming's still down 7 credits on this star. Maybe a bit less on these ones, but you get the picture. And if I can send a fleet from this star to this star, then that will mean I'll be able to get those credits for myself, and that will be a net loss of 27 credits for Dr. Gaming when compared to me. And these other stars are similar. So that's why I didn't want to put too much economy on the front line. I did put 1 here, but I didn't put any more there. But with all that looked at, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to purchase I'm going to purchase industry and science and put a warp gate here on Kulat so that I can get ships to the front line quicker, and then I'll be right back. I feel like I've misplayed this game horribly. As you can see, I've only got 58 credits left, and this is the start of the second cycle. That's not a good position to be in. And even worse than that, my ships my ships that are on the home star aren't going to be able to get to the front line anytime soon. It's not even 6 hours to get to that warp gate, it's 7 hours. So I spent far too much on science, and I'm not going to be able to control this area. Chances are there's a good 28 ships here that I won't be able to take, so this carrier can just wait there until, the ships can wait there and defend that entrance from an attack. But what's the point of capturing these stars anyway? I don't have the credits to do anything with them. I foresee this potentially being a very short game, but I'm going to play it on and see how things turn out. My ships from this star, they're going to go here to Procyon, almost definitely capture that star, and hopefully some industry that Dr. Gaming might buy there. I'm not going to be able to capture this star or this star because of the extra ships. Well, I might be able to capture them, but it probably wouldn't be worth it if they go to defend one or the other. So I'm left to capture this one because it's the only one that I know I'll be able to capture. And then capturing this also allows me to bring in the extra ships from this star to the fight and use them in a useful capacity. But for research, I've gone for manufacturing. I bought some more science. I'd have it done in 6 hours, which, once again, I spent far too much on science. I didn't need to buy any more. But we'll see how things go in this situation. So it's now tick 30, and having a look at the board, we can see, I did mess up. So Dr. Gaming also went with a warp gate on this star, which is very reasonable. And they've now got 132 ships there. which means they can now jump this way unless I get rid of the warp gate. But even if I do that, they can still get there before I can. So I have now wasted 200 credits on building a warp gate there. Having a look at this, they haven't built much industry at all and pretty much no science. So they put credits into the warp gate and kept a lot of their remaining credits for economy. So they'll be able to far out produce me at the end of the cycle. So this is a really bad position for me. My best option is to destroy the gate there, because I do not want them to be able to get here and then move down here. I'll have to play this slowly, these 84 ships, rather than dropping and coming back. I'll get them to move towards the front line, keep moving the ships. And I'll have to take a slightly different route. These ships here, once taking over score, can sit there for a while, see what Dr. Gaming does in response, probably move ships over this way. My carriers here, I'll just get them to sit there for now, try to be like a porcupine and pork on those stars. Finally, we can have a look over on this side of the map. With these 22 ships, I think I'll keep coming down here and try to cut off Dr. Gaming from those stars. So it's not much benefit to me, but I'll be a horse in the manger, dog in the manger, as the saying goes, and what I can't have, Dr. Gaming can't have either. And that's especially important in this 1v1. You want to take every advantage you can. These 43 ships need to start moving towards the center, especially since I don't have a warp gate there and no method of getting one. These 15 ships, they can head towards the center. They'll be quite useful there. So before I bore you with doing all my carrier movements on camera, I'll head off, I'll do them, and I'll bring you back once I'm done. Well, it's not all over just yet. As we can see, Dr. Gaming and I both have the same number of stars on 34, so I'm not actually behind at all. And I guess small blessings, I suppose. On the front line, I've ordered carriers to sit, to attack, to hopefully make small progress without giving up too much. I've used my other carriers to move ships towards the front line where they'll be useful. With regards to research, I'm really low in credits, so I've decided to put my research towards generating more credits. I did have it on terraforming, and we can see that terraforming will be done in 12 hours, and ideally I'd get terraforming in 12 hours in time for economy purchase, and then I'd get 2 levels of banking. However, considering my front line, it's highly likely that I could lose up to 5 science this turn. And if that's the case, there's no way I'm going to be able to get terraforming done in 12 hours and be able to get 2 levels of banking. So what I've decided to do is I'll get 2 levels of banking first, and then I'll go for manufacturing. That's so that I can get more ships for the industry I have. And, well, the 2 levels of banking is so that I can actually get some cash, and the manufacturing is so that I can get more ships for what I have without having to spend much more. So we'll see how much that helps, if at all, but I'm not really feeling confident at all. Okay, yep, I was right to destroy the warp gate here on Yed. They launched, Dr. Gaming launched 100 ships that way, and Yeah, that would have been extra painful had I not withdrawn my ships. I took out Procyon, took out 2 of Dr. Gaming's economy. I'm moving on to Minka, and I'll definitely capture that also. That's a nice star there. 2 economy, 2 industry, 1 science. So I'll definitely be holding on to that, or trying to hold on to it as much as I can. We've got an extra 96 ships coming in from here. You know what? If I play my cards correctly and Dr. Gaming makes a couple more mistakes, I might be able to capture this star as well, and that would be amazing. 33 ships. Dr. Gaming attacked Shedir and took that out, so we can see that there's a high chance... Well, I'll definitely be able to recapture it as long as these 43 ships don't move here. Wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Gaming goes to take this as well, because it seems that he's in a take everything I can mood with little to no thoughts for losses, because once he takes it all, he can just capture and build it up, which is what I'd be doing too if I had the numerical advantage in the center, which I don't, unfortunately. So, I just looked at the tech and I'm well ahead in everything, and that's because of my science lead, but that's probably not going to stick. So after banking, terraforming was next, and now 13 hours, yep, so I'll stick with manufacturing so that I can get the extra benefit from that, and I can go for terraforming afterwards because I'm not going to wait to buy my infrastructure next round. These 20 ships I'm going to send down here to hopefully take care of that. Going to stick my fleet there so I can prevent any movement from this fleet. And I'll head off and do all the rest of my orders and come back to you once I feel confident in what I'm doing. Okay, so Dr. Gaming is 23 stars away from winning, and out of curiosity, I checked to see how many stars are there that Dr. Gaming can take without taking my stars. So I counted all the stars that Dr. Gaming didn't have in this area, so all these ones here, and so on. Then there's this star. There's the 5 stars down the back here. And then there's all the stars in this cluster. So if we add up all of these stars, and the stars in the center. If we add up all of these stars here that Dr. Gaming doesn't have, then that comes to 28 extra stars, and Dr. Gaming only needs 23 to win. So what I need to do is I need to take at least 6 of those stars and hold on to those 6 stars. If for any reason I can't hold on to those 6 stars, then that's the win for Dr. Gaming. So that's what I need to do now. Make a base of at least 6 stars in the front lines and hold on to it. So I've got that in mind, and that is one goal that I'll be keeping for the rest of this game, just trying to keep those 6 stars. But anyway, looking at the rest of this, I've given my carriers orders, and I haven't built any new carriers because I'm so low on credits. I want to spend that all on economy this cycle. I won't be able to buy much economy, maybe 6 or 7 economy, but it'll still be helpful to me to get every bit I can, especially going on. I haven't changed anything from research from what you saw last, still manufacturing for 13 hours and terraforming after that. On the front lines, I've gambled that Dr. Gaming will be going for my warp gate here next, although Dr. Gaming might not go there because I've destroyed this one, so I might have destroyed this one as well. But that's why I've felt free to move these 85 ships towards the front, even though Dr. Gaming can easily get there first, 8 hours, compared to my 12 hours. Apart from that, there's nothing much that I've done, just basic carrier movements, ships towards the front of the map, and yeah, that's it. I'm just trying to survive. So now at tick 42, I'm only 5 stars behind. Doesn't sound like much, but it is a fair amount. I've got this star here, Giedi, and Minka. That was probably not a wise decision to make, considering I've only got 13 ships there. It will be all too easy for Dr. Gaming to come back and recapture both of those stars, and in the end I'll have lost more ships than it would be worth. I've got 85 ships coming in here, arriving in 6 hours, but Dr. Gaming can easily defend against that, so I should have left those ships back on this star. I made the wrong choice there, unfortunately. Over here we see Dr. Gaming has gone for expansion. I've got two options really. I can take out the fleet here at Azelar, or I can go chasing after this one. At this point, I think neither of them really feel like a good option, so I might just end up doing neither and sitting here and being a nuisance. Over on this side, we see my 9 ships here. They're not enough to defend against these 16. Dr. Gaming's probably sent a carrier down this way and will capture them pretty soon, so I'll have to worry about those producing ships and moving in. We can see I've got 32 ships going to retake this star. I think afterwards their best bet is to head this way. Why is that? That's because if I can just stack on this star, I've got the best chance of doing a good lot of damage to Dr. Gaming when they attack. Whereas if I stay up here or here, that I can't do nearly as much damage. So that's my thoughts in that situation. But that's the summary of what's happened, or how I see it anyway. So I'll go over, do my moves. I just noticed I've got 118 credits. So I guess if nothing else, capturing these stars did give me some extra credits, which I can now spend on economy. So it wasn't all bad, I guess. But as I was saying, I'll go ahead, do my economy purchase, do my carrier purchases and movements, and I'll bring you back in to let you know what I've decided. Okay, and I'm back. I haven't done too much out of what you'd have seen previously. Over on this side, I decided I'd leave some of the ships and send others this way. So I've gone for leaving 13 because that's one more than a multiple of the weapon's attacker level, the attacker's weapons level. And I've taken 7 to chase after this ship, so I can drop one ship here and then still have 6 left over to take out the carrier wherever it may go. In the center here, I will be able to produce one ship on this star in the time that it takes for these ships to get there, which means there'll be 13, which is one more than a multiple of the attacker's weapons level. I'm sending my carrier up to this star, Kulat, in the hopes that I'll be able to capture it. Maybe Dr. Gaming won't think to defend it, however unlikely that is. These 32 ships, once I take this star here, what's the star? Procyon, then I'll be sending the rest of my ships on that fleet down to Minkar to help defend this star and make it as hard as possible to capture. That's pretty much all I've done. Everything else is what you'd expect. I've moved some carriers towards the front line with ships, others towards the back line to collect ships, and everything else is moving like clockwork. So that now brings us to the end of this cycle and the end of the video. So if you are enjoying this game so far, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel so that you will be able to see the next video when it comes out and see how this game continues. Alternatively, if you're enjoying what you see, then there's a suggested video on the screen right now which will take you to see another game that I play on Neptune's Pride.